Man, the AAA gaming industry just can't catch a break, can they? This is Riot's new fighting game, which I hadn't even heard of this game. It's already done. This comes from Kotaku. Geeky sent this over. Riot's new fighting game is already imploding as it lays off 80 developers less than a month after coming to consoles. So it's 2XKO. I haven't played it. Have you guys played it? I haven't played it. It hasn't even finished its first month on the PS5 and Xbox Series XS, and Riot Games is already cutting its losses. The League of Legends maker announced it will be laying off 80 employees as the tag team fight game fails to gain momentum. So we'll talk about that because there are so many layoffs in the video game industry right now. And, I think the future is actually going to be the past in a lot of ways. I think a lot of people are going back to older games because everything has become complicated, quote unquote, woke and predatory. And, these games are very, very expensive. I mean, they're talking about laying off 80 people at Riot Games. Most of the games that I played as a kid and as a teenager were made by like 8 people, not 80 people. So it's like, and we're seeing these staffs of like, 200, 300 people working on these games that cost hundreds of millions of dollars. And that is ending. We talked about this before, that a third of U.S. games industry workers were laid off in the last 2 years. And I think we're going to see some right sizing in the video game industry, and stuff like this just is not going to fly. Meanwhile, some indie dev is going to release a fighting game similar to this, but made with a lot fewer people, and it's probably going to do really well. I'm just saying that seems to be par for the course. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Go out to Kickstarter, check out Crimson Wren. We're going to reoffer this book. People have been asking for it. It's been out of print for 4 years now. So check it out. You can grab a copy of this hardcover graphic novel. It's a steampunk fantasy adventure. And we also have some new perks that were not available the first time around, including D20 trading cards, pins, stickers, prints, etc., etc. So check that out, please. Link is in the description. So let's see here. Here's the blog post. It said, I want you to know the decision was made lightly. As we expanded from PC to console, we saw consistent trends in how players were engaging with 2XKO. I don't think they're playing it. They're not engaging very much, said executive producer Tom Cannon. The game has resonated with a passionate core audience, but overall momentum hasn't reached the level needed to support a team of this size long term. Now, there is a passionate fighting game fan base, and these are the people that they love Street Fighter 6 and whatever. I don't know how Street Fighter 6 did overall, like with the general public, but I know Tekken 8 was very popular, Street Fighter 6 was popular, Mortal Kombat 1 not so much. Mortal Kombat 1 was, I don't like it very much, but whatever. But there aren't as many fighting game fans as there used to be. Not nearly. I mean, back in the 90s, that was like one of the biggest things, fighting games. Everybody played fighting games, and then it kind of cooled off for a while. And I'll give them props for trying to bring fighting games back, I guess, but I guess not bring it back. But still, it's like I don't think there's going to be a massive audience, and they're going to be looking for, again, League of Legends type numbers, I'm sure. Featuring fighters from League of Legends, Runeterra Universe, 2XKO employs beautiful cel-shaded animation and tons of flash combos, but it seems none of that was enough to help it make a huge splash in the fighting game community when it came to PC and early access last October. I'd never heard of it, but I don't really play League of Legends either, so I wouldn't be paying attention to this. The game hit the 1.0 launch and arrived on consoles last month, where it became the third most downloaded free-to-play game across PS4 and PS5, putting it ahead of Marvel Rivals and Highguard. Well, Marvel Rivals, okay. Highguard, nobody's playing that shit. But okay, Marvel Rivals I'll give you. That sounds not bad considering the game's existing trajectory, but apparently Riot was expecting something bigger, or maybe it was always the plan to cut the development team in half after the release, as the League of Legends company struggles to find success outside of that game. Yeah, and even League of Legends isn't nearly as big as it used to be. I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't hear about it as much as I did a couple of years ago. Ken says that there are no plans to pull the plug on 2XKO, and its remaining team will continue updating the game and carrying through with the one-year competitive plans. Ultimately, this decision reflects a shift in how we operate. wasn't a judgment on individual riders or a signal that the journey is over. We're reshaping the team. So they got the bare bones built, whatever, and they can just have a couple of people maintain it. You know what, though? I don't expect that to happen. I think they'll probably give it like another 6 months. Remember Multiverses? Does anybody remember? Remember Multiverses? That was like a big thing. That was like the Warner Brothers fighting game, free-to-play fighting game. And it came and went and it's gone. And most people forgot it existed already. So this kind of stuff just, it doesn't last. This is a problem anyway with these free-to-play games. They don't last. You don't own them. You could invest hundreds or thousands of dollars in one of these games and they could just, pull the rug out from underneath you and be like, you know what, it's not making enough money for corporate, so we're going to get rid of it. Versus like, hey, we're just going to sell you a physical copy of a game and you own it forever. But can't acknowledge how bad the layoffs and timing sounds. Yeah, no, it's not good, guys. I know this update will raise questions and concern. That's understandable, but he didn't have anything more concrete to share with the fans. So this is correct, and we'll talk a little bit about that before we wrap it up. Koopa Troopa here says, dang, the AAA game developer world is bleak. Back in the day, working at a giant publisher like Riot would all but guarantee job security, but everything has to be a massive hit for these companies, and it's getting to the point that quality doesn't even matter. You can make an amazing game, and it still won't sell because Fortnite, Roblox, and Call of Duty still exist. There's just straight up not enough people audience. I don't even know if it's that. I think these corporations, to greenlight these insane budgets, are being sold unrealistic expectations. Like, guys, we're going to make a game that's going to compete head to head with Roblox. We're going to make a game that's going to be the Call of Duty killer, and that's not actually happening. And to justify these massive, massive budgets, they have to effectively lie to the investors, I think, or lie to their bosses and be like, this is going to be the biggest thing ever. And everybody's looking for that next Fortnite, Roblox, Call of Duty. They're not content to just make a game that's good enough, that's sustainable, that maybe sold, a couple million copies or something. And it paid for itself. And then there's enough to make another game, right? And maybe it was made with a team of 10 to 20 people or something like that. That's not enough anymore, right? I mean, I would say you need to be more like Claire Obscure and less like Riot. But again, this is a company, Riot's, they expect big bucks all the time. It's not good. It's not fun to watch. It lowers the skill floor to try to engage casual players, but it's still a combo slop game. So most new players are having the most frustrating fighting game experience there is, getting comboed for 10 seconds while they have no idea what's happening. See also Killer Instinct. I have similar fears for Marvel Tokon. Fighting game. Oh, yeah. So this is what I'm hearing, guys. This is what I'm hearing. Fighting games are in big trouble right now outside of Street Fighter 6. And even there are internal grumblings throughout the community about its base design. Virtual Fighter 6 has a massive opportunity to re-engage broad audiences. That's a problem. Fighting games, if you weren't there in the 90s, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Virtual Fighter, Tekken, fighting games were it, man. It was massive. Like, everybody played fighting games. The arcades lines were huge for the latest fighting game. I remember our arcade when Mortal Kombat 2 came out. They bought like four or five Mortal Kombat machines. They were like all in a circle and everybody was playing them. And you had to wait your turn to play these games. Like, that was the hotness back then, right? Now, not so much. Now the fighting game community is very niche. I think it's not as accessible as it used to be. But back then, like, hell, they had shitty Street Fighter cartoons. They had Street Fighter G.I. Joe figures, Mortal Kombat movies. I think they had cereal. Didn't they have breakfast cereal or something? Like, it was all over the place. And now it's like, oh, there's a new Street Fighter game. It's like, and I love Street Fighter. I do. But it is nowhere near as popular with the general public as it was in the 90s. There's just no comparison whatsoever. So it is probably a hard sell because a lot of people, a lot of casuals, a lot of kids, maybe people that are playing, League of Legends or whatever, to get them into a fighting game is going to be hard. And Smash Brothers is kind of its own thing. I could piss people off and be like, well, Smash Brothers isn't a real fighting game, but it plays very differently than like a traditional, like a Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or something like that, right? And that's more accessible because it's got a lot of cute Nintendo characters, whatever, and that's a whole scene in and of itself, and I'm not even going to touch that one with a 10-foot pole. But yeah, people are just like, yeah, RIP 2XKO, you won't be missed. It's just not good. I'm not a hardcore fighting gamer. I'm casual, but I do have a fight stick, and I've been getting more into it the last couple of years. I loaded this game up, played a few hours, and it was just fine. So yeah, I don't know, guys. There it is, but that's a huge blow for Riot, and you know, I think we're gonna see a lot smaller teams and games, and that's how, you know, things go forward. And I think a lot of companies like Riot, not saying Riot in particular, but a lot of companies like them are going to fold or get gobbled up by bigger companies, and then they're going to shut them down. But again, a third of the US games industry got laid off in the last 2 years, and it's because of stuff like this. Just saying. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.